Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all having a really awesome day. Well, I'm sitting down this morning to this flower arrangement that I started last night. And yes, I do have a fan on, so it may be too loud. There's just no way I can be in this apartment at this time of year on these hot days without a fan on. So I had a small mini AC unit and the AC part broke, so I don't know. I took it apart and all that and I can't figure it out. So there is a fan on beside me. Hopefully you can hear me, and if you can't, just watch what I'm doing. So what I did is I started these cute little hydrangeas, and then I made this bubbly kind of vase. And I just thought I'd kind of show you how I did these. And if you notice, this is like a layered effect. Like I have some light colored ones in the background. And if I really want to, I could actually go like this. And, I could wet the underneath, which, that's another option before you start, is just sort of make you could have like a circle of the color. That is an option. And then it would, kind of look like this underneath versus the white background. But I'll show you kind of how I did these cute little, first of all, I'm using a round pointed brush. And I'm going to make this a very light wash. So we're just going to use quite a lot of water and make a more of a wash to do this one. So I just it has four little petals. That's kind of hard to describe, but I think I'm going to change the brush. I don't know, we'll see in a minute here. I used a different brush last night, but and then I just went into my yellow, and while it's wet, I let that bleed like that. What I was going to add today was a little bit of red also into it, and see how that looks. So that's basically the light colored ones, watery. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into some red, one of my reds. And I have a mixture here of some different reds. And I've already done it on several, but what I'm talking about is where you see the light in the background, then you see another, like here, and then you see one like this, or this, or this, or this, or this. That's because I waited for everything to dry, came back in with a less diluted paint on my brush. And I did that, and I went into the yellows. I sometimes grab the yellow ochre and let that seep in too. And then you get that layered effect. So I'm going to finish a few of the ones I started with you. I'm going to grab the orange now. I guess I need to spray my paints a little more. They usually don't dry out this fast, but with these fans, I'm finding that my paints just keep drying out quickly. I'm going to grab the orange. Add me an orange, I think it is, although I do have a few colors on my brush. And what was I just going to do? I guess I wanted to continue to add over here a little more, which may be orange. I'm going to mix that orange with some red. I'm going to come over here on top of what's dry. It's all dry under there. And put that over the others. You see how that one pops off? Let's go to the purple whoops. That's not a purple. I'm going to get that away from my purple, because without knowing, that looks just like my purple. Okay, let's come here. Well, this didn't come out to be the color I wanted, but that's okay. This is all for demonstration purposes. Okay, so we're just gonna, well, it does, looks like a really dark purple. But even though I really don't have that much paint on my brush, because I'm painting over the ones that are already there and dry, it pops out. Let me try a, well, these are the colors I was kind of sticking with, but that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go around with all the purples, and we're going to go, we need another, we need a purple here. So we'll just put the, add some of these purples all around with a little yellowy center, all over the different. I'm going to have to get another color to mix in here. Ooh, that's pretty. I think I will go with that. See, that's what happens when you mix colors. You get these beautiful, beautiful colors. Okay, so we want to go where it's kind of light. So let's. Right here, this is got water. I have water on my brush. So I'm just adding that in like that. Putting in that center that bleeds through because it's wet. And let's get a little more of that. That's a pretty color. All right, here's a light spot. Let's come up here. You want to vary them, like I'm varying the sizes of them. So you don't want to, all the exact same size. You can, but it'd be better if you didn't. Okay, let's see if I can get some mauve on my brush. I love that color. See if it will show up. I don't want to cover up all of the underneath ones that are so light because it's pretty. Well, yeah, there we go. This shows up. Okay. So you see what I was, kind of getting at is just, it's such a pretty design. I love hydrangeas anyway. A lot of them here at the place that I live. My apartment, they have nice hydrangeas. Okay, let's go to the purple again, and I'm going to add a little bit of the, I'm not sure what that color is, and we're going to come here, so it kind of looks like a ruby red, pretty, and you're definitely going to see that. That's definitely going to stick out, right? So isn't that just really pretty? I love the layering effect. I love to layer over things. And then what I thought I would do here in the center is I'll get my, well, maybe I'll get grab, I can talk this morning, grab a flat brush, and let's get one of my greens. Mix it in with that green that I just was, and I'm going to kind of, well, I guess I need a little more on the brush. The brush is a little dry. And it's really hard to keep up with the dryness with the fans running. But there's no way to not have them running right now. 90, when it's 90 degrees. And okay, so now the other thing that I wanted to show you was just kind of doing this. You can do this with a flat brush, you can do it with a round brush, all through the little flowers. Because there is green, normally within them. And then I'm getting some leaves here. And just wherever you think, that you might want to deposit some little bit of greenery. Just to add, right? Just to a little more lifelike. And then I'm going to switch from this flat brush to this round brush, another round brush, a different size round brush, and mix a few colors, but I want it kind of wet because I'm coming down in here and I want it to seem like I have, you know, there's some leaves still on the branches, the stems coming down into the water. And of course, though, it's in the water. It's depicting it's in the water. So what we want it to do is be with a lot of water, make it look real. What's the word? Blurry, because it's down in the water. So all this would be a bit on the, except for the edges, would kind of be a bit on the blurry side because it's in the water, except for up here. I'll mess that up. Okay, because this is above the water up here. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to add to this, I'm going to get a green again. This is a mixture of a green, I think it's a light green, I think, and a blue. So I'm going to take my, and I want to kind of droop, as I love drooping stems. I think it's just so pretty. And we're just going to droop down those stems like that. So I took my tip and I'm just drawing the stem. So you tip, press down, come up, mix it in with my other colors. That gives me, you see, a bit of a mixture in there. Add that to some of that. And see how pretty that is when I love adding the greenery. It just touches everything up. And I'm going to add a couple more other greens. And we're going to droop this one down here. And that's with this kind of a brush, okay? And that's doing this action that you see me doing. Just mix in some color. Remember, I had the reds that I mixed, and I had some orange. So you get all these lovely mixtures. And I think I will add a little bit of this orange right into the stem, because it's very important to mix into your greenery some of the colors that you kind of have going on in your painting. It really is really important. Okay, so we'll keep going. Now for this, all right, that's that. Now, I can choose to leave this all whitish behind there, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my brush and I'm just going to flick it around. And we're not going to necessarily see the, you know, we're not going to necessarily, oh, that was the other thing, I'm sorry. And then just kind of add some stem action in there, you know, into the flowers, so the flowers don't kind of appear as though they're just floating in space or whatever. And I just want to add a bunch of stems. You know, the depiction of stems, thick stems in the center, because they're basically kind of going all into these flowers, right? So we're just sort of doing that. And bring a few more down here like this. And that's watery down there. Now what I thought I would do is, I love those little branches with the berries on them. So I'm going to do some green and some brown together. And we're just gonna, again, let's go around the flowers, you see? Make these little things like this, but on the ends of those, we're going to put some nice little red berries. Well, I think I might have too big of a brush. Let's see. I'll have to attach some more little stems because there's 2 or 3 on in a clumps, kind of clumpy. So I'm just dabbing with the point of my brush. And doesn't that add, you know, a nice little touch? I'm staying within the colors of the painting. Grabbed a different green, and I'm just gonna and I can see that I will quickly lose my voice today, so this definitely won't be long. And if the fan's in the way anyway, just watch. That's all you have to do. All right, and we're going to do that again, and I've got to get a little bit of kind of a brownish color going on here. And let's come over here. Just kind of draw my little line, and let's hook like 2 or 3 little hooks. Let's do this. We'll have 1 little stem, and then we'll hook 2 or 3 to it, so the berries can come from those. Because berries are usually, you know, in clumps. Okay, so we're going to go back to a nice red for the berries. I have a smaller brush this time, but I'm just dotting. Just do 2 or 3, or 3 or 4 in your clump. I'm mixing some reds now. Okay, I think that looks really pretty. Now I think what I will do, go with my mixture here, as I always do that. I always stay within my mixtures. I'm actually going to add the red to this green. And we're going to have some nice cascading V's coming off the front. So I like a little bit of a larger brush. Put a V's. I'm going to go into and mix some of my colors here. Take some of that reddish again and put it in there. And this time we'll have a bit of reds with our greens. Not as dark as I wanted it. Let's add a little more color here. And that's better. And this is semi-wet because I like the blending. It doesn't have to be. Now if I pull off quick, okay, another little thing, I can get a tip, or I can just pull off, which will give me, lost my voice, which will give me more of a, okay, hold on. If I don't come out on the tip, I will get a bit of a rough edge, like I did here, which I like very much. So I sort of try to do that on purpose sometimes. So there's some coming down, and then let's just do green. Let's just have one. I like that color, and let's add that a little bit into these here while that's still wet. Get a little bit of this color into it. Not too much, just enough to, you can use your finger and kind of move it around. How pretty. And then I can come right over these that I have going on, and I can go right over them. Even if they're not dry, I could go over them, but they would bleed into the others. But these are dry now. So I'm coming right down, and just like they're mixed in with it, we're just gonna put this pretty green however it comes out. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just kind of dabbing it in, and I love that breaking effect there. I think that's really pretty. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to put some green on my brush, a little bit of yellow, make it light. And I'm just going to, oh, that's too light. I'm just going to flick lightly, heavily, just going to flick my wrist. And indicate some loose leaves and things, you know, all the grasses and things that they. And then what I'm going to do here is just kind of blend this together in the center, because I wanted that to look more leafy and more stemmy. If those are words, which I'm sure they are. Okay. Darken that up a little. And just in the center here, adding in those rich colors. And here and there, and there and here. Which I think was Bob Ross. I did, all right, hold on. Take a look at this for a minute. I did acrylic painting for many years, over 40 years, and it really all stemmed from Bob Ross. What I'm going to do here, take some of my acrylic white, and I just wanted to lighten up that pretty aqua blue color I had a few minutes ago. I'm just adding some like this and over that, and just, you know, no particular way. Just flicking. And to keep it fairly simple and that it is short, I debated whether or not I wanted to do this, but I think I will just a little bit. So I'm going to take my brush, get it really wet, okay? Put it into a color. And we're going to tap. It just adds a bit of, you know, nuance, or whatever you want to call it. Pick whatever color you want. Yellow on this one. It needs to be very wet. Your brush needs to be very wet, dripping almost. Go into your color. Depending on how big your brush is, will be depending on how big those dots come out that you just put down. So there we go, folks. I think it came out really pretty. There's so many things, you know, that can be done, and when we're finished paintings, we always see them. So I meant to put the little circle that you put in there for the indication of the vase, bottom of the vase. There we go. But there we go. I'm calling that one done, and I've got places to go and people to see. So that's my morning hydrangea painting. I hope you like it. Check my other stuff out. Come back for more and have a beautiful day. Bye for now.